and Eve. So their honor was intact. Their glory was secure. But suddenly, in Genesis chapter 3, there was a breach. There was a breach. And that is why in January we considered from the beginning, in February in his presence, and this month March we're looking at the breach. What do I mean by the breach? A breach is an infraction or violation of a law or an obligation or a tie or a standard. So a breach means a violation. That's a breach. A violation of a law, a violation of an instruction, a violation of a standard, of a tie. Violation. That's what the breach is all about. Violation. That's the breach. That's the breach. When you hear of the breach of trust, there's a violation of trust. I trusted you, but not anymore because trust has been breached. There's a breach of trust, so I can't trust you anymore. A violation. You have heard of the breach of contract. There's a breach. We came into an agreement, a contractual agreement, and we do this if you do that. I have done my own this, and you have not done your own that. There's a breach of contract. A breach is a violation. It is an infraction or violation of law. Offend a law. If you offend a law, you are in breach. For example, there is a law. Don't drive against traffic. Don't drive one way. Each time you turn your car, you drive against traffic, you drive one way, you are in breach. You are violating a law. You are violating a rule. You are in breach. For our sake. For whose sake? For our sake. We are told not to drive and phone or test. So you are in breach if when you drive, you not only phone, you are chatting or testing. I have seen people, I saw one woman some time ago driving. Breach number one. She carried the baby on her laps while driving. And the baby was playing with her while driving, and so she was driving. Breach number two. She had a phone in her hand, and she was not phoning, she was pressing, testing. And I drove past her, and I shouted, "Woman, are you all right?" Because she was not all right. You carry a baby. And you know babies can play. So that's a breach. And I said, for our sakes. Now, listen to me. Anytime God gives rules, it's for his own sake. It's for your sake. Anytime God gives us laws and instructions and orders, it is not to make him more God. It is to better our lives. Don't drink and drive. It is so that you will not kill yourself. A breach. A breach is a gap in the wall. A gap in the wall. When there is a wall and there is a gap in the wall, that's number two. That's a breach. That's a breach. You have your fence, your house. There's a fence around your house. And then there is this heavy downpour. And then flood came and pulled down a part. That is a breach. You've heard of security breach. Someone has breached this, has compromised our security. Gap in the wall. That is a breach. A breach number three is a break in friendly relations. A break in friendly relations. Break in friendly relations. That's a breach. This morning, let me speak about, or let me show you three things about this breach. Three things to note, three things to beware of, three things to take care of to avoid a breach. And if you are looking for a message, a title for your message, avoiding the breach. Avoiding the breach. How can I have? What are the things? 3 things I just want to mention and talk about. Number 1, beware of cracks in your wall. Beware of cracks in your wall. I have defined breach as a gap in the wall. And so this morning, to avoid a breach in your life, you must beware of cracks in your wall. A wall is for defense. A wall is for protection. A wall guarantees your peace. But in 1 Samuel chapter 25, verse 16, 1 Samuel 25, 16, the Bible says, the servants of Nabal, they were reporting to Abigail, the wife of Nabal. You know the story. David had sent men to Nabal when he was sharing his sheep to go and meet him and ask for provision for him and for his men. And Nabal had abused them, rebuked them, and sent them away empty. And David was angry, and he was coming to Nabal to destroy everything in his house. Some of the servants, one of them ran to Abigail and told her that is David and his men were a wall unto us both by night and day. All the while we were with them keeping the sheep. So a wall is anything or anyone or any system or any arrangement that protects you, that protects your marriage, that protects your business, that protects your children. A wall. Anything or anyone that is a shield, any defense mechanism around your life, around your destiny, around your marriage, around your business, that is the wall. So you must beware of cracks in your wall. A wall is for defense. A wall. You must beware of cracks. Nineveh, or the Assyrians, dominated the world. They were the world powers. Conquered all the known world. They conquered the northern northern kingdom. Only Judah and Jerusalem were not conquered by the Assyrians. They became the world superpower, the Assyrians. And for many years, they were the superpower of the world. Then the Babylonians began to rise to power. Babylon began to conquer other nations. Conquered so many nations, but Babylon couldn't conquer Assyria. Why? They had a very big wall. They built a wall around their city, around the capital of Nineveh. There was a wall that protected them. And history has it that the wall could withstand a siege of 10 years. And history had it that the Babylonians sieged Nineveh for 10 years, but they couldn't penetrate. You know what that means? That the enemy surrounds your destiny, your family, your world, but they couldn't enter because of the wall. I pray for someone, the enemy will not be able to penetrate your life. So Babylon surrounded Assyria, surrounded Nineveh for 10 years, and they couldn't enter. The wall was intact. When your wall is intact, the enemy will not be able to penetrate. But can I tell you, have I told you, that the greatest wall that any man can have around his life and destiny is God. God. When you have God and you are in agreement with your God, your fellowship with your God is intact, it is not broken into or compromised, then your wall is standing, the enemy will not be able to penetrate. So for 10 years, the Babylonians could not penetrate. Then suddenly, something happened. Listen, can I pray for someone? Anything that will happen, that will give the enemy an advantage over you, somebody who said that will be like, God will not let it happen. Whatever will happen that will give the enemy an advantage over you, God will not let it happen. In the name of Jesus. Shout amen 3 times if you believe. Understand what I am saying. Now there is coronavirus. Many businesses have been destroyed. Businesses connected to China. Lives frustrated. A government policy could create a breach and destroy so many things. A breach. A young man, a lecturer, wanted to do his PhD. And then he applied for scholarship. And so many people applied for scholarship in 2014 in Nigeria. Yeah. Scholarship. And so the government announced they wanted to give scholarship for the best students. The best of the best in Nigeria. With an agreement that you best in sciences, in technology, you will sign a bond with Nigeria. That after your master's and PhD, you will return and work and help the country for at least a period of number of years. And the grant was $250,000. They wanted to give it to the best. And so all people from Nigeria all over came and they wrote an exam. And to avoid cheating, it was a computer-based exam. You see your results immediately. So why some brethren here in Unsuka, in Obafemi University in Lagos, were scoring 94%, 80, 70. Some places from other areas in Nigeria that I will not mention scored 20. You know, we have this quota system in admission that if you score 20 and you are from Sanfara, you will gain admission. But if I score 100 and if I score 80 and I'm from Imo State, I will not gain admission because if I'm from Imo, I need 90 to make it. If I'm from Oyo, because you are not too brilliant like those from Imo, your 80 will be okay in Oyo. But if you are from Sanfara, if I score 0, just attempt the exam. I'm telling you, that is what is happening for admission to our unity schools. And so because we were CBT exam and the results were clear, so those who passed were selected, screened, and they were waiting for and they were excited. Then 2015, Jonathan lost election, and then Buhari won election, and the process was on. Just to suspend his signature, the thing had been said to him. He looked at the list and he said, no Northerner here. And canceled the list. A policy that could devastate, any policy that will bring devastation to you, to your business, to your family, we frustrate it today in the name of Jesus. God said that policies will favor you. God, even negative policies will favor you. In the name of Jesus. Say that amen 3 times. Back to my point. Something happened. What happened? There was the Tigris River. There was a rain. And the Tigris River overflowed its bank. And there was a flood. And the flood pulled down a small part in the wall of Nineveh. Have you been following me? The wall gives you protection. But a rain fell and it broke down. There was a breach, the wall. So those who have been camping around for 10 years, when they saw the opening, they just entered. And that was how Nineveh was conquered. They withstood the siege for 10 years. But a breach in the wall allowed the enemy to enter, and they were conquered. Watch your life. What are the walls? I have told you the number one is God. 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 Your relationship with God. Your fellowship with God. Do you know that each time you lift your hands to pray, you are building a wall? Your prayer is a kind of a wall. When you spend time in the presence of God, when you come for vigil to pray, you are building a wall, a protective wall around your life, around your destiny. But and if the devil wants to get a man, he stops you from praying. Your prayer life, your life of holiness, your life of purity, a war. The righteous will hold on to his way, and those who have clean hands will be stronger and stronger. But those who have dirty hands will be weaker and weaker. The wall. Your wall will not be pulled down. In the name of Jesus. So can you imagine a circumstance, something happened, and the wall of Nineveh came down, and the enemies penetrated. The enemy will not gain ground against you in the name of Jesus. Once there is a breach in a man's life, his defense or protection is gone. His defense is gone. In Nehemiah chapter 1 verse 3, Nehemiah chapter 1 verse 3, a report came to Nehemiah where he was, and that they said unto me that the remnant that are left in captivity of the promise are in great affliction and reproach. The wall of Jerusalem also is broken down, and the gates thereof are burned with fire. Your wall will not be broken down. In the name of Jesus. There can be no prosperity within a wall that is broken down. Psalm 122 verse 7. Peace within your wall and prosperity in your palaces. Peace be within thy wall and prosperity within thy palaces. There can be no prosperity within a wall that is broken down. Your wall will not be broken down. I thought your amen will be louder. Now, let me look at visible crack or breach in Adam's wall. Just mention two now. Crack, we're talking about the wall. Crack in Adam's wall. Adam brought us into this mess. Adam, with the original sin. It was the original sin. The sin of Adam and Eve is what is called in theology the original sin. And that is what has made all of us sinners. Including the child that was just born. All of us are sinners. All have sinned. And they have come short of the glory of God. Adam and Eve were okay. They enjoyed the presence of God. As long as they lived in the garden, the presence of God protected them. They had no problem. There was no breach. But when the serpent came, when the devil came, when the tempter came, he created a breach. That was a breach. But what were the visible cracks that made this breach possible? I mentioned two. In Adam's marriage, there were two major problems. Number one was the problem of lack of communication. And let every man, every woman in marriage